So James Murphy of Savor Muskoka, why don't you tell us a little bit about what is Savor Muskoka all about?
Well, thanks for coming up and exploring the region. Savor Muskoka, we're a non-for-profit organization, and essentially we manage information. We work with local farms in the area and local chefs, and we help develop local food in the area. Food's very important, and having the chefs show the farmers how their products used and share information on what the trends are right now is really important to growing local food. For instance, we have some purple carrots here from a local farm, which are great, and we have shiitake mushrooms. I don't think a lot of people know that shiitake is Japanese for oak, and we have abundance of oak trees here.
A lot of oak trees
so
here.
it's working with the environment and seeing what works, and having the chefs give the farmers feedback on how to diversify their farms and how to use products that are trendy in the marketplace right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of lettuce here on this table. Is this one of the specialties here in Muskoka? Or?
It is a specialty here in Muskoka. Lettuce is great in Muskoka because of the warm days and cool nights, so it grows really well, and it's all organic. And the one thing you can see is the farmers leave the roots on it, so it increases the shelf life.
Okay.
It doesn't. You leave it in a bit of water, so it stays longer. So there's benefits to buying local and organic, and it's little things like leaving the roots on, so it stays longer and the shelf life is longer. So it's Savor Muskoka's role is really to help manage that information and create opportunities for chefs and farmers to showcase what they have, and also on the other side is to develop farms, to teach people how to grow mushrooms, how to put up a greenhouse.
Now, how do you grow a mushroom like that?
It's pretty simple. You just take an oak log, and a year before you want the mushrooms, you drill a hole, you spore them, and then you just lay them down in a wooded area. They're covered with snow year-round, which is natural, and then for about 6 years after you've spored them, you get about a pound of mushroom per log, and it's great. It's local mushrooms. You don't get much local than that going to your backyard. So
that's awesome. And I know a lot of people, when they think of Muskoka, they think of all the recreation around Muskoka and the beauty of it, and not so much about the farming. But how many farms are there in Muskoka?
Muskoka is very unique in that we have an abundance of small to rural farms, market farms. They're not commercial farms. And the importance of market farms is not only for the chef to interact with the farmer, but also for the culinary tourist, because they don't want to see a commercial plant. They want to see the small market farm, the small farmer. They can talk to the farmer, and that's as good a verification as anything. You don't need a label, you just need to talk to the farmer. You can get that in Muskoka here with all our small rural farms. And that story is told through our restaurant's chefs. So you see how it's coming together. When you're sitting down at dinner, the waiters and waitresses and the chef tells the story of where that product's from, and that's as good as label as any.
But don't you also sometimes mark some of the products with a special Muskoka label as well?
Yeah. Right now, Savor Muskoka's role is also to be a verification process. So when you see that brand Savor Muskoka on a product, you know that it was grown, it was brewed as we go to the Muskoka Cottage Brewery and Muskoka Lakes Winery. You know it's a product of Muskoka, and it has some integrity and honesty to it because it's been branded with that label. As well as when you go into a restaurant and you sit down and you look at a menu and it's got that brand on there, you know that the chef is committed to buying local, fresh food. And when they do that, they're not only buying local food, but they're creating a local food system. So there's a lot of emotion and honesty and integrity to it, but it's we need fresh local food. It's important for everything.
And speaking of beverages, let's check out the next table. There's lots of great beverages on the other table, so let's move over there now.
Over to my favorite table. It's all about the wine. Not that I don't like to eat.
And don't forget the beer, too.
And the beer. Okay, to the beverage table. Let's go with that. So the Muskoka Brewery and the cranberry wine.
Cranberry wine.
Yeah, these are going to be two of our stopovers today.
Stops, yeah. Balla's actually the cranberry capital of Ontario, and it's a multi-generation farm there, and they've been growing cranberries from some time, and they're really involved with their winemaking. And they have blueberry wine, cranberry blueberry wine, and they have a red maple dessert wine. And we'll be going to the winery later to get a little tour and see the rustic nature of it. And again, it's a family property, and they produce a great fruit wine. It's won many awards, and the whole experience is something else. So we'll really get you there.
Okay, we're not going to be picking cranberries, are we?
Well,
I know
we'll
I'm going to be chasing a chicken.
Yeah.
Now, I understand there's a big cranberry festival that happens in October as well. And there's one happening this year as well?
There's one happening this year, and also Savor's doing a Field to Fork event there on September 26th, where you can come and taste some of the wine and meet some of the chefs and indulge in local food. And it's a great opportunity because it's as beautiful as it is here right now with the lake.
Stunning, simply stunning.
Gorgeous.
It's like an an art canvas. It will change in the fall. The colors will come out, and it's absolutely breathtaking. So it's a great time to be up here to eat and drink local food and wine, and as well enjoy the colors. But the wine is not the only thing that up here. We also have great craft breweries, and not only Muskoka Cottage Brewery, but we have Lake of Bays Brewery, and they make great Ontario craft beers. So we have everything up here, from the wine to the beer, and some of my favorite is the Muskoka Cream Ale.
Okay. He's gonna
Might have
open
to-
we're gonna have a little preview. All right.
So the Muskoka Cream Ale is a staple for anybody coming up to Muskoka. It's something else. And as you were sitting in those Muskoka chairs, those were actually a play on Adirondack chairs, and they're special because they designed them to be in cafes and restaurants because of the flat arm on the side. You can always place a drink, and you don't need a side table.
Well, they held our big glasses, no problem at all.
Cheers.
Cheers. Start the day off right, eh?
That's right. Let the adventure begin.
To Muskoka.
To Muskoka.
Let's have a taste.
So raspberries, blueberries, strawberries, apricots, and cranberries all have something in common. They're all used to make fruit wines. So wines do not have to be made of grapes, clearly. So we are standing here at the Muskoka Lakes Winery with the winemaker, Matt French, to tell us all about cranberry wine.
I'm
Matt,
glad to have you.
Thank you. Great to be here. So cranberry wine, I mean, we had some earlier on, and it is absolutely delicious.
Yeah, it's very different. It's very interesting. It's totally unique, and the beautiful part is it's truly local. It's actually fruit that grows in Northern Ontario. We grow ourselves. We take premium fruit, and we make good wine out of it.
And we understand cranberries are really good. They're filled with antioxidants.
Yes, absolutely. Although I don't like to push that in the wine. It's delicious is more the angle I like to take, but I'm sure it is good for you, like all wine, in moderation.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're in Bala, and Bala, Muskoka, and Bala is known as the cranberry capital of Ontario. Is that correct?
That's right. This is where almost every cranberry in Ontario comes from. Is from Bala. And
why is that? Is it the region, or?
Yeah, it's ideally suited for cranberry growing in climate, access to water for flooding fields, sand for spreading on the fields in the wintertime, for the peat for the berries to grow in. And so we are the oldest cranberry marsh in Ontario, and I think we're still large producing as well.
So Matt, tell me, how did you become a winemaker making wine out of fruit?
Personally myself, I came in at a time when we had an idea for a local wine, an interesting wine, something truly unique, and we'd started out the process, and we're just trying to work out the bumps in. It's a whole new field. I mean, fruit wine is something that we're exploring, we're creating, it's cutting edge, it's exciting, and so I have a science background that really played into developing and improving and making really excellent wine.
So tell us, you make cranberry wine, but you also make blueberry, cran-blueberry, and tell us a little bit about how they taste and the profile of each of them.
Sure, absolutely. Our philosophy is only things that grow in Muskoka. So I use fruits that grow here, and then I try and bring out how they are, how they really taste, how they want to be. And so blueberries, for example, are actually similar to grapes in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
They want to become a dry wine, a full-bodied wine, and so when you bring that out in them, you get that wonderful, nice dry blueberry wine. Cranberries are tart, crisp. That's what they are, and so when you make wine, that's how they come out, you know. And it's excellent for your Thanksgiving or strongly flavored cheeses, strong food, things that you want to pair with something strong. And then our most popular wine is my cranberry blueberry wine, which is a blend of cranberries and blueberries, which I do before ferment. And they interact, they play off each other during the ferment to change the course of the ferment and make it a little bit sweeter, but also with cranberry tartness, and so that's a very accessible wine, a very popular wine. And I also do some dessert wines from raspberries and maple syrup. Again, things that grow locally and things that are just delicious for dessert.
So tell me, how do you serve fruit wine? Is it normally served at room temperature or chilled down?
I serve our wines at different temperatures depending on the wine, depending on the type of wine and what you're
Okay.
eating it with.
Right.
For our dry oak-aged wild blueberry wine, for example, you would have room temperature. You'd want to let it breathe before you drink it.
Uh-huh.
You can lay it down for a few years. It would benefit from aging.
Oh.
Something like the cranberry or cranberry blueberry, you want to kind of emphasize that crispness, and so I would
Yes.
get that nice and cold and have that with dinner or sitting out in the dock. That's
Now,
what
I
I
have
would
a
That
question.
sounds
With
good.
ice wine, they tend to, when you open the bottle, they will last longer if you keep them in the fridge.
Yeah.
Now, is that the same with fruit wine? Do they last longer as well? Or-
Absolutely, yeah. If you put something in the fridge, it's going to slow its rate of oxidation, its rate of oxygen input, and so putting it in the fridge slows that process down. It's going to prolong the life of your bottle. And certainly on a dessert wine, it's something you're probably going to want to have. Everyone at the table is going to have a glass at the end of the meal. Then you want to save it and have it again with your next meal, right? So
Right.
absolutely, I would keep it refrigerated.
Okay. And are there certain, like with grapes, there are certain grape varieties that produce very different profiles of their wines, and some are, you know, more, well, they're just very different, I suppose. What about cranberries? Are there like different clones of cranberries that make a different tasting sort of cranberry wine?
That's something that we're going to look into in the future because we do grow 5 different types of cranberries on site here, from heritage varieties, which are growing down in the bog below
From
us.
1952,
Yeah.
we understand.
That's right, exactly. And more newer varieties in the marsh over there. At this point, cranberries are tart. And
Okay.
in some ways, it doesn't matter what kind you get, they're tart.
Okay.
Now, the fruit looks different, it'll be larger, different coloration, things like that. And so I'm hoping in the future we can, devise, Pilgrim cranberry wine or Cyril's cranberry wine or something interesting, really bring out the characteristics of each individual berry, but we'll see.
Well, I think we should go into the retail store and try some of this wonderful wine. What do you think?
Absolutely. I'm up for it.
All right?